system embedded in the lining of the GI tract. And it's reacting. It's seeing foreign things, and it's reacting not with a giant inflammatory storm, but with a low-level inflammation. And it's creating general body inflammation, and it's making people feel blah.
Doctor, can we save our microbiome? And so if, let's say, you're a mother who had to give a C-section, or a mother who could not breastfeed, or a mother of a child who had to take a lot of antibiotics, are there ways to revive it and save it? Or is the new market for things that save your gut is just another marketing facade?
Well, there is a role for probiotics, and in infants, it's been found to reduce some downstream complications. The question is which ones, and that's where science hasn't really invested a lot of investigation. The probiotics that are most popular are the ones with the best marketing campaigns, but we're starting to understand a role, and sometimes people can try different things. The most important thing to protect your microbiome is eat organic foods, avoid unnecessary C-sections, avoid unnecessary antibiotics. And in Mount Sinai Hospital, they're actually taking vaginal fluid and swabbing it on the baby's skin when they have to do a C-section. And so the idea is that they're going to reintroduce and recolonize that natural process. And to answer your question about insulin, where's the conversation about lowering your insulin levels, lowering your glucose levels through food? You can cure 90% of non-type 1 diabetes by changing what people eat. And yet we never talk about it.
That is incredible.
We don't have to be medicating all these kids. If we can spend time with people and help them get the food that makes them healthy, we can actually cure 90% of non-type 1 diabetes.
Well, and speaking of helping kids, peanuts.
Yeah, peanut allergies. We have this modern-day peanut allergy epidemic in the United States. It's by and large a man-made epidemic. Peanut allergies existed in the past, but they were rare and mild. But in the year 2000, the American Academy of Pediatrics decided to tell parents to avoid all peanut butter and peanut products for kids 0 through 3 years of age, with the thought that peanut avoidance would reduce future peanut allergies. They got it perfectly backwards. They ignored a basic principle in immunology known as immune oral tolerance, or the dirt theory. When you're around something the first couple years of life, your immune system recognizes it and is less likely to react. So for 15 years, they marched on this train of a total peanut avoidance for young kids. Peanut allergy rates started to go up right in front of their eyes in the first few years, and you know what their response was? People are non-compliant. We have anti-science parents out there. We've got to double down and get more compliance. Total peanut abstinence.
They were the anti-science people, but really you should have lathered your baby in peanut butter, or that Israeli bamba snack.
Bamba snack. Any peanut-based foods that don't provide deliver a choking risk.
Right.
4 months, 5 months, 6 months. As soon as a baby can take oral intake, introduce a little peanut butter, milk, eggs.
Everything.
Be around cats and dogs. That's
what
about
the
pediatricians. Honey? So honey can present a choking risk, but same thing with honey. A safe amount of honey also. So
that's unbelievable. I mean, I'm just okay. My oldest is 11. My youngest is 6. A minute ago, I was just told no peanuts, no peanut butter, no honey.
Peanut butter is still not included in the WIC program for infants, a modern-day scandal. The medical establishment got exposed 15 years into their dogma just about 7.5 years ago with a New England Journal study where a guy in the UK finally had the courage to challenge this deeply held assumption. And he did a beautiful randomized control trial with 640 kids, and he found peanut avoidance caused an 8-fold higher rate of peanut allergies. And this modern epidemic, which includes the new severe reactions, that is, kids can die just from being near a peanut.
Yeah, I have a few friends with kids who could die from that, which is why our schools don't allow peanuts in the schools.
That's right. It's become this self-licking ice cream cone. They've created this vicious cycle where they've created this intense immune sensitivity, and then the treatment has been more avoidance, which creates more.
It's punishment for the hubris of the medical field.
I tracked down some of these people that made the recommendation, and their answers were pathetic. They told me things like, well, we had to tell parents something. We had to tell them to do something. I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you don't know, the right answer in medicine often is, we don't know. And that's okay. Yeah. Another guy said, we have to keep it consistent with a prior pamphlet that the American Academy of Pediatrics put out. We were trying to do consistency. And another person said, yeah, I could tell this was all bogus, but I was new on the committee. But we don't do well when a small group of people make decisions for the entire population on health, and they're not using scientific evidence. They're shooting with a gut feeling, and they're propagating medical dogma or misinformation.
Right, and when medicine and doctors are censored, nobody does well.
That's why we need civil discourse. We need to invite people who have different opinions to discuss it. Remember when Obama was asked what's his favorite book when he first ran for president? He said, Team of Rivals, because it's good to have different opinions.
If he only believed in that for real.
Well, I stay out of politics, but you may be right. I will tell you that the guy who opposed the low-fat diet, he said, no, it's not fat, it's sugar, it's refined carbohydrates. Look at the ultra-processed diet. His name was John Yudkin. He was in the UK. Man, they crushed him. They crushed his career. They took his lab away. The guy who was the sort of Tony Fauci of his day, Ansel Keys, who promoted the low-fat diet.
Yeah.
They did a randomized controlled trial at his institution, and it failed to show the low-fat diet reduced heart disease. It went the other way. Low-fat people on the low-fat diet had a higher rate of fatal heart attacks. They suppressed the study for 16 years. When one of the guys was asked why, he said, we were just disappointed in the way the randomized trial turned out. That's not how science works. You've got to invite dissent. I do it on my research team. Show me guys where I'm wrong. I could be making a mistake here. We get tunnel vision. In medicine, we get myopic with our specialty approach. And we've got to invite fresh new ideas. We need big ideas. The NIH is funding these small, incremental discoveries. You do this little discovery in this little tiny field, we're going to give you some money. What are we doing? I mean, the top paper in the cancer conference was a chemotherapy that's been around to a new type of cancer, increases survival by a couple months with no added cure. That's the top scientific discovery in cancer for the year at our top paper with $300 billion invested. We need big ideas. We need to challenge deeply held assumptions.
Okay, so doctor, I want to pack in a few more important nuggets here. So mammograms, what are your thoughts on mammograms?
There's actually never been a randomized controlled trial to support moving the age of screening mammograms from 50 to 40, which they just did. So it was a medical dogma. They said, we think there's benefit to starting earlier. They don't know. They are seeing more cases of breast cancer in younger people. That was the rationale. But it wasn't supported by a solid trial. There is a risk that we're giving people radiation with the mammogram. So I recommend sticking where the evidence supports it better, and that is starting at age 50 for low-risk women, not 40 as is currently recommended.
Wow. What do you think about breast implants? We're in Los Angeles, I have to ask.
We're in Silicon Valley, as we call it in surgery, and the breast implants do not cause autoimmune diseases, as was initially claimed, or this so-called chronic fatigue syndrome. There was a large study that evaluated this question for a court case, and the court case was basically thrown out because the evidence did not support it. Silicone implants were banned for many years with this concern, but to this day, almost 3% of adult women in the United States have an implant, and silicone is the implant of choice because of the softness and the feel. But the irony is the FDA took it off the market because they said we didn't have long-term data. At the same time, they approved OxyContin based on a 14-day study, and they approved it for chronic pain, igniting the opioid epidemic. And it does beg the question, could it be that many of our modern-day health crises have been created by or hastened by the hubris of the medical establishment, igniting the opioid epidemic, igniting the modern-day peanut allergy epidemic, igniting the obesity epidemic with processed food and demonizing natural fats. And some would argue creating the COVID-19 pandemic from scientists messing around with a bat coronavirus in a laboratory.
Nefarious or accidental?
I think it was accidental, but 2 years prior to the pandemic, they submitted a grant to the United States government that was the cookbook on how to make COVID-19. They said they would like to have funds in the grant to take a bat coronavirus from a remote part of the country and then insert a furin cleavage site to enable it to infect mammalian or human cells. That was the grant proposal the Wuhan lab submitted 2 years before COVID. So it's not a mystery. It's not the riddle of the Sphinx that the world epicenter was 5 miles from that same lab.
Do you have any thoughts about other vaccines? Like, what about the flu shot, for example?
So we need a universal flu shot instead of this annual run around. You come, we'll have nothing to do if we don't tell people to get the flu shot each year. Between people smoking less and the flu shot moving to a universal flu shot. But there's a new universal flu vaccine that unfortunately is sitting in phase 1 trials. There's no interest from the NIH, our government, or pharma to have a one-time universal flu shot that could last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. It would work against bird flu, as we've seen in animal studies. And I write about it in the book Blind Spots. We need to get that flu vaccine so we get away from this annual circus of trying to predict which strain is going to be dominant and then trying to target that strain each year and making people just feel terrible if they don't get a shot that, in young, healthy people, barely works. It may shave off a day or two of illness.
The medical establishment is going to have to do a lot of work to regain our trust after what has happened with the other vaccines. And so it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, you talk also about Tamiflu, which was another one of those things that has been pushed on us for a while, and people have kind of lost trust by seeing that it doesn't really work so well.
Part of the national security stockpile to have Tamiflu, it barely works. And we only found that after a deep investigation by a group of scientists that said, we want to see the raw data. We don't want to just take pharma's word for it. So imagine for other drugs if we saw the actual raw data, what we call the clinical reports that say this person in the trial had this description of what they experienced. Imagine what else out there we would discover.
Imagine informed consent. Imagine that. What do you think about Tylenol?
Tylenol is massively overused. If a kid or anyone has a fever, you don't have to treat it with Tylenol. It's the body's natural way of increasing temperature to try to rid itself of the pathogen. Now, if a kid is uncomfortable, we don't want kids to be uncomfortable, then it may make sense. But otherwise, it may just
Well, what does uncomfortable mean? My child is uncomfortable sitting at dinner, okay? So, you can't use that as a litmus test for when to apply meds.
If a kid is visibly uncomfortable crying and it's obvious it's from the fever. Inconsolable, and it's clear it's from the fever, then it's compassionate, I think, to use it. But a recent study found not only out of my institution, when it was used for chickenpox, it extended the illness because you're getting rid of the body's natural regulatory way of increasing temperature to try to rid the pathogen. And another study out of Duke questioned the safety of Tylenol in very young, small children. And so that is a question that we have to look into. These are deeply held assumptions that Tylenol is entirely safe in children. It's worth us asking questions.
What are your thoughts on fluoride?
So we fluoridate most of the drinking water here, but in Europe it's 3%, and in Canada it's only a third of the drinking water. If fluoride is killing bacteria, which we know it does, in the mouth, reducing cavities, what is it doing to the bacteria in the microbiome? It may be doing damage and altering the microbiome. And a recent study in one of the JAMA journals found that the fluoride may be accumulating in one of the learning centers of the brain, which is why they saw lower IQs among children in fluoridated areas where the water
was
fluoride added.
So what about toothpaste?
So it's the current recommendation to avoid fluoride in toothpaste for young children. That's probably for a good reason. Maybe the kids should not be drinking sugary drinks and these juices with added sugar. Maybe there's another way, instead of adding a bactericidal agent to the drinking water, that we can address the cavity issue.
Well, Doctor, I am so grateful for people like you, and I hope that people like you will continue to go and meet and have your conferences and speak freely and really battle those ideas so all of us can benefit from the sparks that come from those disagreements and the battles. And so, bless you and thank you.
Thank you.
I will continue to follow your research because I personally want to get more educated.
Thank you, Marissa. Great to be with you.
Jarrett Jack also in the game. That's a help. You know, Klay Thompson has not shot it well. Jarrett Jack in the conversation for Sixth Man of the Year. You had him against San Antonio. He was dynamite.
They go with that lineup, Doris, when they bring in Jarrett Jack and move Curry over to the 2 and Klay Thompson. That's a pretty good finishing unit. The 3 of them on the floor right now, in fact. Thompson not shy despite his 3 previous misses.
They have very good young talent. Curry, Thompson, Barnes. I don't know that Barnes has defined who he will be as a player yet, but there's athleticism, skill in the open floor.
Felton drew the contact as the foul is going to go against Steph Curry. That's his first personal foul. Ray Felton, after a great start to the season, broke his finger and still rounding back into form right now. Maybe one of the maybe in the top 3, Doris, you think, for most improved player this year?
You know, I think if you think back to what he was doing in November and December before the finger injury, he was attacking the rim off the screen and roll. He was just so much more aggressive and assertive and dynamic in that screen and roll. They need him to be that guy again.
Missed 12 games with a broken right pinky. That's his shooting hand.
The question is, you know, and Mike Woodson said this, he believes at some point they will round back into the form that they had in November, December. Now, sustaining that 3-point mark that they were, I think, is unrealistic, but they could certainly space the floor better.
Yeah, when you look at a team that averages almost 11 threes made per game, that's a pretty tough pace to keep up all season long. Foul is going to go against Tyson Chandler. That's his first. New York with 2 team fouls, Golden State with 3. At the midway point here in the first quarter, here's Jarrett Jack. Landry flat out lost the handle. Here's J.R. Smith. Shumpert for 3. Chandler active on the glass and rebounded by Landry. Tyson Chandler already with 9 rebounds, Doris, in the game. Jarrett Jack with the pull-up. Golden State has had a few rattle in and out tonight.
Tyson Chandler has always been a great offensive rebounder. Without David Lee, who is an outstanding defensive rebounder, that could be an opportunity for the Knicks to get some second chance points.
Well, Carmelo Anthony having no mercy on the Warriors rookies tonight. First, he put Draymond Green there, and now he just put Harrison Barnes on the school bus.
Choose joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
You know what you don't see in psoriasis commercials? The thousands of real people who go undiagnosed. People whose psoriasis can look very different depending on their skin tone. As the makers of Tremfya, we understand that everybody's moderate to severe plaque psoriasis doesn't look the same. So we undertook a first-of-its-kind study of plaque psoriasis in every skin tone. Like hers, and his, and yours.
Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine.
Ask your dermatologist about Tremfya.
It's special, and I thought it would be just another day at the office, but when you're a kid sitting in the corner listening to the Knicks, listening to Earl Monroe, dreaming about being a player, dreaming about being an announcer, dreaming about being a coach, and for that to actually take place tonight when I'm standing there coaching, it's a heck of an accomplishment, and I'm truly humbled and blessed that it came full circle.
You know, I remember Mark talking about being a player with the Knicks as a rookie, how he would take the train and walk down from Times Square along 7th Avenue to Madison Square Garden, talking about how he liked to feel the crowd, how he liked to feel the pulse of the people and feel the arena, actually feel it, tangibly so. And you can only imagine what the sensations are for him now, not as a player anymore, but as a coach.
You know that he and his wife Desiree, there she is, they walked over from the hotel to try to get the feel. And listen, for basketball people, this is a special place. For a New Yorker like Mark, who grew up a Knicks fan, are you kidding me? I can't imagine the emotions going through him right now.
Out of the timeout, Landry on the post, and he's fouled inside. He's going to go to the line for 2. Fouls against Carmelo Anthony. That's his first.
You know, you think about him as the NBA Rookie of the Year, and he'll readily admit, didn't have a ton of athletic ability, didn't have a lot of jumping ability. He had to think the game, right? He had to be smarter than everybody else. You know, one of the most accomplished passers in the history of the league. Hard for me to be objective about Mark after spending some time with him on an announced team. This is born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. I did not like him when he played for St. John's because I was a Providence person.
Nothing personal.
You know what used to bug me when he held up his hands at the free throw line? I told his young son Mark, I said, "Don't do it, Mark, young Mark, don't do it."
He made more than he missed. Landry knocks down the free throws. And there has been a culture change at Golden State with him as the head coach. You talk to the players and to a man, they say, Mark makes it such that we don't want to disappoint him as players. And this is a very tightly knit team in just year 2 under Mark Jackson. J.R. Smith, meanwhile, knocks down the mid-range jump shot. Knicks leading 16-9 with about 4.5 to go here in the first quarter. Mark Jones along with Doris Burke. This is Game 3 of a 5-game road trip for the Golden State Warriors. The number 6 seed in the West, Jarrett Jack, missing. The New York Knicks lead after losing 4 of their last 5 games, Doris. Down to just a slim margin now. The Nets right behind them.
Yeah, this is a huge week for the Knicks. You think about the loss just prior to the All-Star break. Not a good one. They talked about coming back strong. Good lob.
Boy, how many times are they going to run that one?
Well, again, you're porous defensively. You wonder, they've shown a lot of 1-2-2 zone or sprinkled it in to try to mask some of their defensive deficiencies. We've not seen that yet.
Here's Klay Thompson. Curry with the floater, got it to go.
I'll tell you what, for a guy who a lot of people questioned at 6'3", 185 pounds, could he be effective in the league? He has put those concerns to rest.
Here's Shumpert.
And there is, looks like that 1-2-2 zone.
Good active hands, and they come up with a steal. Jarrett Jack turns it over. Boy, an inordinate amount of turnovers tonight by the Warriors. Smith. Boy, Tyson Chandler really has mastered that tap back move, hasn't he? He's already got 12 rebounds. Boy, that meter's running pretty quick. Smith for 3.
Second chance opportunities, all created by the board work of the New York Knicks. And I say this, David Lee is not going to be accused of being, a great defensive player, but he's worked harder, he's improved drastically on that end, and I'll tell you, his presence on the backboard's sorely missed right now.
He was the only guy, is the only player in the NBA, Lee, averaging 19 points and 10 rebounds a game, and Tyson Chandler with his 13th rebound. Felton off the screen. Comes up short on the runner, rebounded by Draymond Green, who made the start tonight in place of David Lee. Amari Stoudemire getting set to check into the ballgame for the Knicks. Shumpert with some of that on-ball defense. Smith on the move.
Sometimes it's not just the number of turnovers, Mark, but those. In the open floor above that three-point line, so dangerous because your transition opportunity is so easy on the other end.
It's beginning to look a lot like McRib is back for a limited time.
With Spectrum's ZZ Self-Install Kit,
turn on the anniversary mix.
You can feel at home in minutes.
What'd you say? If we
You're not home until you're connected. Get Spectrum.
You can scheme all you want, Doris, but replacing 19 points and 10 rebounds isn't easy, right?
Right, and obviously it's a different age. You think back to the 1990s, that kind of, shall we say, altercation would have been probably a nightly thing. But in the aftermath of what happened in Detroit, particularly because it got so close to that front row, thankfully no fans become engaged. The only question I have, and I know it's sort of a case-by-case basis, if you think about the Knicks Sunday night, you had Tyson Chandler. Nice drive.
Stoudemire, who just checked into the game.
You had Tyson Chandler make a similar shove when Spencer Hawes reacted to a Carmelo Anthony swipe to the head. And somehow I think the league is sitting back going, thank God Jeff Van Gundy's not on that game.
Jarrett Jack knocks down the 3 ball, bringing the Warriors to within 11. Amar'e Stoudemire checked into the ball game. This is part of Mike Woodson's new rotation, Doris.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
I like it. This is a guy who, you think about what he was prior to Carmelo's arrival, in and out for Melo. Right. This guy was 25 points, second team. For him not to open his mouth and come off the bench and be as productive as he's been, you can't ask for anything more from Stat.
There's Landry, guarded by Stoudemire, who commits the foul. When we talk about the quote-unquote new rotation by Mike Woodson, we're alluding to the fact that Stoudemire usually doesn't come in at that point of the first quarter, giving Tyson Chandler some rest in the first period. Carl Landry back at the foul line for the Golden State Warriors, stuck in neutral right now, offensively anyway. They're one of the highest scoring teams in the NBA, one of the several teams that averages over 100 points per. Folks, the NBA on ESPN continues Friday. LeBron James and the Heat host Zach Randolph and the Grizzlies. Then at 10:30, Kevin Durant and the Thunder are on the road taking on Andre Iguodala and the Nuggets. NBA Friday presented by State Farm coverage, shipping off with Kia. NBA Countdown at 7:30. Then it's Grizzlies Heat, Thunder Nuggets, 10:30. Friday on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. I watched that Lakers-Nuggets game a couple of nights ago, and when you watch the Nuggets play, it's like a track meet.
Transition defense. The Lakers had none of it, Kobe said after the game, we've got to get better there.
Tyson Chandler has 13 of New York's 15 rebounds here in the first quarter. Anthony cut off on the drive, and here comes Harrison Barnes. 10-second difference between the shot and game clock. Wrestling down to the block with Landry and Stoudemire. Stoudemire is going to be whistled for his second personal foul. Benny Adams explaining it to him.
So 2 guys being very physical on the block. You see Landry tries to reestablish position, and I think they're calling Amar'e on the hold.
Yeah. Stoudemire coming off arguably his best game of the season in that game against Philadelphia, where he was extremely efficient. And remember, folks, if you don't already know, he's on a minutes limit of 30 per game, as per the Knicks training staff and athletic trainers and medics, trying to preserve those knees of his that have undergone microfracture surgery. 22 points. That's a pretty good-looking stat line, Doris. He says it's okay as long as we're winning.
Right. And again, think about this guy. 25 points. Just under 10 boards, second team NBA, and has basically relinquished it to Carmelo as his team. And I like the rotation change because it gets Tyson a little bit of time at the end of the first quarter.
Golden State in the midst of a 7-0 run. Smith on the wing working against Jarrett Jack. 2-second difference between the shot and game clock. Anthony blows by Barnes. 9 points for the NBA's leading first quarter scorer. Jack with the floater. And that's the end of the first quarter of play. The New York Knicks leading it by 9.
New Bet365 customers get how much?
Join Bet365 today and get $200 in bonus bets plus 50 spins when you bet $5.
It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Welcome back to New York with Mark Jackson. If anybody understands what this building means, you do, Mark. What are your emotions like coaching here for the first time?
Well, it's a dream come true. As a kid, I had a dream about being an announcer, being a player, and being a coach. So it's a dream come true, and I'm truly blessed and honored, and I thank God for the opportunity.
Obviously, you missed David Lee a little bit on the offensive end, but on the backboards as well. How do you adjust to what they're doing?
Well, we're a no-excuse basketball team. We still have the ability to still get it done. We got to find a way to take care of the basketball and then defend.
You know I miss you.
I miss you too.
Mark Jackson, he'll always be part of our team, Doris.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And for the New York sweep as the Golden State Warriors defeated the Brooklyn Nets earlier this year. Novak, who checked into the ball game, a long two off the mark. Smith. J.R. Smith with his third three ball of the night.
No better time in basketball, any level, to shoot a three-point shot off an offensive rebound. Defense has collapsed. Everybody's looking at the rim.
Curry, well defended by Kidd. And back come the Knicks. Stoudemire, Prigioni in the game. Smith firing away. And Stoudemire. Good-looking second unit for New York. Richard Jefferson on the drive. And he'll go to the free throw line for two as we look at the Knicks on the court, Doris. Rasheed Wallace will undergo surgery this week. A fractured bone in his left foot. The team announced that on Wednesday. That places him back maybe around the first round of the playoffs. How does that affect what they do?
I think it's a huge miss. You know, first and foremost, when Tyson Chandler's off the floor, Rasheed Wallace does an excellent job on the defensive end. He's got size, he's got savvy, he's got skills. He can also stretch to the three-point line and make plays. He's got championship-level experience. I mean, I think Rasheed not playing for this team is a huge miss.
As a result, to help out as Jefferson knocks down his first point, the New York Knicks did sign Kenyon Martin to a 10-day contract on Saturday.
I like that move. You know,
what do you like about it?
Well, he brings defense and he brings toughness. Two things I think the New York Knicks need right now.
No back off the mark.
You wonder, you know, when Kmart will start to play.
Hasn't seen any action yet. Jefferson, nice feed to Landry underneath for the bucket. And it's down to an 8-point ball game. Landry has 8. You know what they call 35-year-old Kenyon Martin on this team?
What?
Youngster. There's Stoudemire. And he's fouled by Landry.
Boy, that looked like a lot of ball. He spun right into him.
And look who's coming into the ball game.
That shit crazy. He shot anything.
Now at Verizon, get Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and watch and tap. All three on us.
This is a nightmare.
No, I'm a nightmare. What you need is like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm can help with your claim.
Well, I feel better.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The crowd reacted to it.
Played last year for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he hasn't played since. He's been working out, and as he admits, waiting by the phone. He was very surprised that a call didn't come earlier. It took until February for him to get back into the league. Reunited with Carmelo Anthony, who he was teammates with the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, he's played with a few of these guys. And again, think about what he brings to the table. Toughness, certainly. The ability in the pick and roll, right? On the defensive end, to be that guy to hedge and to be active and to trap. And the toughness, you know, when you're in a scrap physically or a rock fight, I'd like Kenyon Martin on my team.
Back up to a 10-point lead. Here's Jared Jack. Working against Prigioni. Prigioni was a game-time decision because of back spasms. Thompson working against Martin. There's some of that defense that Martin brings.
Look at that prime example. I mean, that's a two-guard he's checking, right? Now he's sitting down in a stance and won't let him go by.
Smith. Stoudemire posting up.
See, Prigioni is a little bit reluctant as a scorer. I mean, he's better than he was to start the year. They just passed up an opportunity.
5 on the shot clock, had to hoist one.
See, now I think he had a better look the first time, and he hesitated.
He's very deferential, likes to pass, and Curry makes them pay at the other end with the layup. It's back to an 8-point game.
I'm telling you, Mark, I love his game. I like the pace at which he plays, his savvy.
So some people forget that he was a member of the gold medal winning World Championships of Basketball USA basketball team just a couple of years ago.
I tell you, there's a bunch of college guys with his frame. 6'3", what do you list him at? 186 pounds, 185 pounds. Stephen Curry, just so smart.
A tough night so far for Amari Stoudemire, who just picked up his 3rd personal foul. And a technical foul call.
Ooh, wow, that's crazy.
Let's listen in to Mark Jackson, Wired for Sound.
Big news from Mahomes.
I'm switching to iPhone 16 Pro at T-Mobile. It's built for Apple Intelligence.
That's like peanut butter on jelly on go. Get 4 iPhone 16 Pro on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. What a deal. Y'all giving it away too fast, T-Mobile. Slow down.
My game is pretty boring.
That boy's just like anybody get past y'all. God damn.
I'm conservative in the
ain't no fun.
I don't do anything very flashy, but it's proved to work for me. There it is.
Get one chance to be here all year. Let your hair down and have some fun, all right? Let's go do it. Take your shots. Take your shots. It's the bright light, gentlemen. Embrace that thing. We got to put a string of stops together. A string of stops.
You know, there are a couple of guys you can listen to in the huddle all day. Avery Johnson's one of them.
Yes, no
And I think Mark
doubt.
Jackson's on that list, too.
Or if you've ever heard him preach, he can do that too.
Landry off the double. Curry with the quick trigger, got the 3 ball. You know, he does shoot 45% from downtown on the season. And it's a 4-point game. Smith. Chandler with another rebound. 14 boards already. Prigioni cross court, Novak. Great ball fake. And he drew the foul against Thompson.
Well, you can see the commitment teams have made, though, to taking Steve Novak away. Think about Miami in the postseason a year ago. They were on Steve Novak on the catch, and everybody else following suit.
That's the wrong nigga. Money Alberta was all over, man. Shit crazy.
It led to that technical foul as David Jones didn't like the
I guess he felt like he was showing him up, but he was a long way away. He'd look away.
Want to make a quick correction. Miami Heat have won 12 games in a row, not 14. That might be a matter of time, depending on who you listen to and the way they're playing goes. What about how hot they are?
79 points between LeBron James and D-Wade. You know what? We all talk about how physically dominant and skilled LeBron James is. You know what maybe one of my favorite things about him is? The selflessness, the team spirit he fosters by being a facilitator and making the right plays, right? This is an extraordinary level he's at. But he still finds a way to distribute and find his teammates and still dominate the game. That spirit, when you have a superstar like that, just extraordinary stuff.
Well, the Knicks have defeated the Heat twice this year. With 2-0 against Miami. That should be an interesting matchup. On ABC Sundays, Smith coming up short.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
Here's
I don't know why I be doing that, bro.
Curry with the quick 3 right down Main Street on Prigioni. And back to a 4-point game.
Boy, they're attached. I mean, you're talking about the 19 and 11 without David Lee on the road in a back-to-back situation, and Golden State is attached to the New York Knicks, despite what they've gotten from Tyson Chandler.
Novak. 7 on the shot clock for Smith, working against Jarrett Jack. Well defended. They can cut it down to 2, a foul on Prigioni. And let's listen in to Mark Jackson in the huddle.
It's Mark calling, and Papa, I'm leaving a message.
Happy New Year.
Just remember. Hi, honey.
Hey, Grandma.
One thing we got to do is we got to put a body on Tyson Chandler. That's not just his responsibility. I mean, 5 guys got to go in there and gang rebound. We fine. Way to climb back in this thing.
And they have done that. Steph Curry has scored Golden State's last 9 points there.
Well, what a job by Mark Jackson this year. I mean, really, you think about the long, extended stretches of struggles in Golden State. Yeah, they are 6th in the West.
Jefferson almost came up with the steal in a very competitive Western Conference. The Golden State Warriors have a favorable schedule down the stretch that should help them a little bit. Mark Jackson in his return to Madison Square Garden. Born in Brooklyn, played in Queens, doing his thing in Manhattan.
You could have been his shooter.
Curry with another jumper, and it's a 1-point game.
Just, you know, he plays with a pace of a guy who's an old man in the league, right? He's still pretty young. You don't speed Stephen Curry up. He's going to go at his pace.
Nice runner by J.R. Smith. There's a lot of discussion about Curry being in reserve for the Western Conference All-Star team.
I think it would have been an easy selection for Stephen Curry.
Still the second best shooter in his family, though, I say.
Yeah, but I think a better, I agree.
I'm not talking about his brother Seth either.
No, Dell probably will go down as the best shooter in his family, but Dell couldn't do what Stephen does.
Jefferson wide open for 3. And look at this, folks. After being down by double digits, they've tied it at 37.
No way he didn't
just
just pass to him.
to go in the first.
Feels like it's been forever since the Knicks have had a bucket.
We do get nothing but goofy niggas at PGs. I'm tired of
working
it.
against Anthony.
This is a mismatch. He should score here. It's going to
I'm
be a
tired of
foul
it.
on Thompson. 15-5 run right now. The Knicks have gone 6 minutes and 30 seconds without a bucket.
Kenyon Martin is going to sit down and
big news at Bet365.
Last month, Bet365 boosted the odds on over 10,000 bets.
With hundreds of boosts available every day, download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Iman Shumpert coming back into the ball game. New York started off 15-8 this season, and then since have cooled off 15-15 the rest of the way. Anthony. Good defense that time and a jump ball call.
I tell you what, their help has been outstanding against the New York Knicks. They load to the paint. Everybody's in help position. That is team defense against Carmelo Anthony. Look at the 3 jerseys. You know, Mark Jackson in that little bit of sound said it wasn't necessarily just one player's job to deal with Tyson Chandler in the backboards. It's not one defender's job to deal with Melo.
Melo wins the tip back to Smith. 4 on the shot clock for the Knicks. Smith with a tough contested J and rebounded. And the Golden State Warriors have an opportunity to take the lead here. Curry for the lead. Got it. Steph Curry smooth. He scored the last 15 in a row for Golden State.
What's happening is they are playing small ball, and that means Carmelo Anthony is out on the perimeter chasing Stephen Curry, and that is not good for the New York Knicks.
Is that a situation where, as we look at Curry again, is this...
Watch. I mean, look at how late Carmelo is. He doesn't want to run around and follow Stephen Curry moving off the screens, and eventually says, yes, sir, 3 goggles.
Is Mark Jackson forcing Mike Woodson to play his style right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And Mark is some of this is, you know, you don't have David Lee, so you're going smaller.
That count?
Chaff, Landry, Jefferson, Thompson, and Curry on the floor.
He looks like a coach. The man can preach and the man can coach.
He's created a different culture in a couple years on the sidelines. I mentioned earlier, he talked to the players, and this is a very closely knit group. A lot of dinners together, big groups together on the road. A lot of field trips. Felton in transition. Good transition defense by Golden State. Shumpert on the wing.
This is where they should have the advantage.
Inside to Chandler. And one.
That's the every possession occurrence, or at least it should be on the offensive end. I know Tyson Chandler is not necessarily a back-to-the-basket post-up guy, but in screen and rolls or relocating, yes, sir, this is what he can do. So if you can't play bully ball with Melo on the post-up, then go to Tyson Chandler off-dribble drive.
And Doris, those fouls starting to add up a little bit for Golden State now. That was Klay Thompson's third personal foul. Before that, Steph Curry picked up his third personal foul as Tyson Chandler completes a three-point play.
Mitch has been shooting and will be shooting free throws in this quarter for a while now.
New York is just 2 of 11 from downtown. Golden State has met 7. Curry missing that time. A whistle and a foul underneath. That's going to go against Richard Jefferson, former Net. Once called New York home. That's the second team foul, 16 fouls against Golden State. Just 2 against New York. As Carmelo Anthony goes back to the free throw line. Mike Woodson had a little chat with his team about their poise and their composure, not getting into it with officials, which they've been doing a lot of lately. Carmelo Anthony was...
It's the most wonderful time.
With Verizon, trade in any phone, any condition. It's your last chance to get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence. Get 4 on us. Only on Verizon.
One of the guys that was involved in that. And folks, go to NBAtickets.com for all your NBA ticketing needs. Single game tickets, partial plans, season tickets, group sales, and to buy and sell tickets from fans. All tickets, one site. Go to NBAtickets.com. But yeah, Doris, composure has been a little bit of an issue for New York of late.
Well, particularly for the guy at the free throw line. And Mike Woodson, you can tell these guys like and respect him, and they need to pay attention, especially, listen, you know, when calls haven't gone their way or play has been especially physical, this is a team that's not reacted well. Well, that's playoff basketball. You're going to see that throughout the postseason. So his point is well taken.
Derek Jack back out to Curry. Good defense by Shumpert. A little too aggressive. A foul on the play.
Wow.
That's the third team foul.
That's a little look, though, at Iman Shumpert at his best right there.
You can hear what the fans think about it.
Come on now. Stephen Curry is as good as any in the league with his handle. And look at this young guy get down in a stance. Okay, you know, probably the rake across the arm, but you're getting a look at what he does do.
Great feed this time by Curry, and Landry misses the dunk but was fouled. Nice pass by Steph Curry, who's averaging almost 7 assists per game this season. Fouls against Jason Kidd.
Well, just watch him give up the ball. You know, he feels the pressure, so he's just going to draw Tyson Chandler to him and give his teammate an easy opportunity. And there's just so much to like about Steph's game.
There's a little bit of a concern on the part of Golden State upper management whether to grant him an extension or sign him to an extension prior to the deadline before the start of the season because of a troublesome ankle that caused him to miss 40 games last season. But he did sign a 4-year, $44 million extension. Seems to be a pretty shrewd move right now, Doris.
I agree. Obviously, his ankles have been the only thing that have limited him in his very brief career. But one, outstanding offensive player. 2, you know, outstanding teammate. And you touched on it. Mark Jackson has fostered great camaraderie and chemistry, and even in the NBA, that can be important. You can win without it, but it helps to have it.
Jason Kidd trying to find his 3-ball. Chandler with another rebound. Man, Golden State struggling to hold him off the board. That was his
he's so savvy, Mark. He's just putting a forearm in the back and checking in. His length, his ability to hold his position. They just don't have anybody right now who can match up with him. Biedrins getting off the bench to try it.
I need to get me a new phone.
See, busted
Trading that
twisted
busted
tees.
up phone, you get you a brand new iPhone 16 Pro with T-Mobile. It's on there. Families save 20% every month. What a deal.
New and existing customers, trade in your busted old phone, and we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us.
That's a steal.
When you have Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA, you can feel it. Your needs are anticipated. Your ideas come to life faster.
For your route, you'll want stronger brakes.
And your business keeps moving forward.
That was the second personal foul against Richard Jefferson. Chandler, a 66% foul shooter on the season, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, member of USA Basketball's Olympic gold medal winning team in the Olympics this past summer in London. A nice little run for Tyson Chandler over the last 12 months.
Yeah, just everybody raves about this guy's teammate skills. NBA champion now alongside of his name.
Knocks down both. And New York back with a 3-point lead. He's got a double-double working already with 12 points and 15 rebounds. Jack trapped. Curry, boy, sweet touch.
Come on.
He had 38 last night, and the way the meter's running right now, he might equal that.
You see how he keeps guys off balance? You don't know when that floater's coming. He just, he mixes speed so well, he's keeping you guessing.
Melo lost the handle back out to Felton. Cross-court pass, Carmelo for three. Just the third three-pointer of the night for New York. Curry back up to 4. Anthony with 14.
He heard you talking about his three-point shooting.
A crafty pass by Curry to Landry for the jumper.
And back to the 1-2-2 zone. Their roster, you wouldn't say, is loaded with great individual defenders. This helps a little bit. They showed this against Indiana for stretches.
Here's Carmelo. Right over the top of Landry.
Look out.
He makes it look frighteningly easy sometimes when he's on a groove. 16 points for Melo. Curry off the mark. Knicks looking for the run out. Felton for three. And the Knicks lead by 7. They're on pace to set an NBA record with 10.8 made threes per night. Barnes against Kidd. Shumpert with the Euro step.
Get the sense that young guy is coming back.
Quick shot by Curry.
Wow.
Stops the bleeding.
Big answer. There's signs tonight, though, from Iman Shumpert that he's starting to get confident again physically.
Steph Curry has 19 points this quarter. 23 in the game. Melo looking for a little get back. Couldn't. So even if he takes a quick one, it's not a problem, right? Almost had an and one. Blew. By Shumpert.
Lazy ass dunk.
Curry at the free throw line, a 91% free throw shooter. And folks, coming up at the half, the Toyota halftime show with first half highlights. Nuggets and Blazers preview. That's the second half of our doubleheader tonight. George Karl's team. What do you make of them maybe as a potential sleeper doors in the Western Conference in the playoffs? That might be an interesting concept. His team, George Karl's team, certainly plays at a high tempo.
No doubt. No doubt. Very difficult to deal with in transition. The Lakers learned that.
Here's Curry. A whistle and a foul against Shumpert.
Shumpert's frustrated, but if you watch Stephen Curry play, now you've got me thinking Seth. He will get you reaching, right? He keeps you off balance. He'll dance with the ball in front of you a little bit.
was interesting to speak with Mike Malone, the assistant coach of the Warriors prior to the game. He said Steph is doing things now that we didn't know that he could do last year because of the ankle injury.
Cuz, bro, you're not reading the story right, bro. I just seen 4 steals will cross your face. I seen it.
He's 7 points now on the game as Felton bullies his way to the bucket.
It looks like he's holding his elbow on the way back, grimacing in pain.
Jack with the floater in the lane counters.
Yeah, you see Ray Felton, he really, it looks like he had a little stinger there on his elbow. He's going to give it up to Melo.
I'm coming through, D-Rock.
He's had some issues with injuries this year. James White. Carmelo with the rip move draws the foul from Harrison Barnes. No bucket. Golden State in the penalty.
I think he was looking for an N1 in that circumstance.
They get a trip to the foul line. A foul against Harrison Barnes, his second personal foul.
A $300 travel credit and a reminder to take your PTO. Add more to every getaway with Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Hey, we're hosting a family this year. You seem oddly relaxed.
We're all set. New home theater for all the kids.
Super helpful smart fridge. Sweet new espresso maker. Best Buy set you up.
Now we're just workshopping dessert ideas.
It's a gingerbread house. Inside gelatin. Wow, it's really jiggling, huh?
Like I said, we're still workshopping dessert ideas.
But this is number 1.
What if the right tech could elevate your holiday hosting?
Melo, a good free throw shooter at 82%. And you'd have to consider, Doris, with the Knicks record, he's got to be in the MVP conversation, right? I mean,
I think so, and I think obviously one thing I thought about before the game tonight is, does Melo have to be contending for a championship before he's going to be in the MVP conversation? He said before the start of the year he didn't want to score 30, and I think his team is best when the floor is spaced and moving, and they're not so heavily dependent on him.
7 seconds to play in the half. And what a half it's been for Curry. Jack on the drive. Tough shot by Jarrett Jack. He has been a key component for the Warriors this year. That bucket cuts the lead to 3 at the half as Golden State undermanned without their all-star out of the game because of a 1-game suspension. Carried tonight so far by Steph Curry at 23 in the period.
You might want to stop doing that, bro, so you can stop having cold streaks.
Carmelo Anthony with 18 points. Tyson Chandler already with a double-double, 12 points and 17 rebounds. Heavy offensive lifting. He meant that in a literal sense, in a personal sense.
Well, it's interesting to me that Mark Jackson allowed
Klay Thompson
and Steph Curry to play with 3 fouls, Mark. Wanted to take some trust. And I remember hearing over and over in my head Jeff Van Gundy talk about, you see coaches sometimes pull guys with 2 quick fouls. And Jeff would always say, if Yao Ming got a couple of quick fouls, I wasn't pulling Yao Ming because I needed him for those minutes on the floor.
Yes, it can.
And Mark Jackson sort of going with that philosophy.
You better put it on.
Tale of 2 different quarters for Golden State, making 11 of their last 13 in the half. See if any of that momentum carries over into the second half here in the third quarter. And 37 points in the second quarter ties the most points in the second quarter.
I put that on 80 passing
for the Warriors. This game 3 of their 5-game road.
You get pass styles.
They won in Minnesota.
No, you get pass styles with that at 80.
And on the second night of a back-to-back here in New York. Anthony working against Draymond Green. Foul going against Green.
He's starting to see the difference.
For the rookies trying to guard him. Let's go to Mark Jackson, wired for
sound. He's going to start putting that point guard more.
Brand new ball game, fellas. Right away. We done tested the waters. Now let's handle our work. Take care of the basketball, rebound, and then our face.
Sometime.
Now at Verizon, get Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and watch and tap. All 3 on us.
This is a nightmare.
I
want to make some more eggs.
What you need is
But I might die. You think you're gonna die? You think you're gonna die? You keep doing that?
claim? Well, I feel better.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I love it. And something interesting that Jalen Rose said at the half, and we'll see if we see it here in the second half at all. He said he wanted to see if Mark Jackson will put Harrison Barnes on Carmelo Anthony. Right, because Draymond Green's had trouble with him all night. Other guys have had trouble with him. Will he give this guy a look at Carmelo Anthony?
Can you get that 90 driver?
Melo goes 1 for 2. 19 points in the ball game. Here's Thompson.
It's either emails or just put it on that pass hack or that perimeter D.
6 on the shot.
78, I'll say it's cool.
When
he get his next 5, on his next 5, he might as well put it on
down.
there.
We talked about the lineage of the Curry family. Thompson's got a little NBA lineage too with his father Michael, some good years with the Blazers.
We can put it on that mini for
There's a great Wall Street Journal article talking about the sons of NBA players having an impact. Nice pass, and there should be a couple free throws. Think about it. Glenn Robinson Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr. at Michigan. There's a lot of sons of former NBA players that will be here shortly on the college level.
Excuse me.
Just means that we're all feeling a little bit older now, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's be honest tonight. Chandler at the free throw line for the Knicks. Makes the first of 2. Chandler with another double-double.
Come on, man. Let me see.
His 20th of the season. And just the first 24
minutes. I'm at 30.
Minutes.
God damn. They're like taking off. Dude, what's going on?
A little bit more. Tweaking and evolving their offense.
Yeah.
What do you think the thought process was behind?
Well, I think you saw a little bit of it in the first period with Carmelo Anthony. Just able to overpower people in the post. Tyson is most effective when he's moving in a pick and roll and rolling at the rim.
They blitz the pick and roll. Take it out of Curry's hands. Good ball fake, and the same result we've seen for the first 2 periods.
You see what I mean? So now you make the adjustment. You're trying to trap and make somebody else beat you, but Stephen relocates after getting out of the trap. And again, doesn't he play like an old guy? Like the pacing and not getting rattled?
Went 7 for 10 from downtown last night. 5 for 7 right now. Kid, boy, he can't buy one right now from downtown.
Just been tough to watch. The guy's putting in the time. He's always been the consummate pro.
Melo with a mismatch here. See if he takes it at the smaller Curry. Walked him right down on the block.
There's not a place Carmelo can't score from, that he's just going to size up which kind of defender you're coming at me with.
Anthony with 21.
Now, it would be interesting to see when Mark Jackson goes, nice pass. How about that left-handed feed?
Festus Ezeli off the bounce.
I'll tell you what, he might be a better passer with his left than with his strong hand. You think about how good David Lee is finishing with his right. This young guy can pass it with his left.
Time onto the floor, a 1-point ball game. New York with the lead.
Your bill, ladies.
I got it. No, you don't. Yes, I did.
People with the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card prefer to pay because they earn unlimited 2% cash back on purchases. Visit wellsfargo.com/activecash. Terms apply.
Goosebumps.
Here's Felton. Anthony, they take the ball out of his hands with a double team, rotate Shumpert for 3. And a chance for the Warriors now to take the lead. The Warriors have connected on 14 of the last 16, make that 15 of 17. He's cooking with some hot grease right now. Steph Curry has 33. Melo with some get back.
This could be fun.
How about a game of one-on-one full court? Curry on the drive this time, finishing with the left. 35 points for Steph Curry. Shumpert denied. The Warriors scrapping, loose ball. Golden State basketball.
And for good measure, Steph Curry gets his hands on 2 basketballs playing both ends of the court. This guy has been special. Hung 38 last night in Indiana, and look at this, a hard drive. Felton with a pretty good challenge, does as good a job as you can when the offensive player gets a step. This is beautifully done. Tell you what, he's 6'3", 186 maybe, soaking wet. And his ability to go ahead and take contact and score through it, really impressive.
He put on a few pounds of muscle in his upper body over the offseason. Harrison Barnes. Now, with all due respect to Harrison Barnes, wouldn't you have wanted Steph Curry to...
Yeah, no question. As hot as he's rolling, go ahead and make sure he touches it. Thinking like a coach, Mark Jones.
And Chandler cleans it up. We'll give him an assist on that one. Not sure what the score is going to say.
The one area the New York Knicks are dominating is points to the paint. They are doing a very good job getting Tyson Chandler a couple of looks on those screen and rolls.
Klay Thompson on the miss, and back comes New York. Jason Kidd has been scoreless tonight. Anthony with a nice move on the baseline. And he stepped out of bounds.
Offensive foul. Instead he hooked him.
That's a second personal foul against Carmelo Anthony.
Looking for a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5. Yup, the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's.
Real roll rise, switch cars like I
I'm glad.
What are you selling?
Well, we get the benefit of the second look. He crosses him over, just changes pace. Look at him get Draymond Green to stand up. You see the call is the left arm. That's a tough one. I think you're frustrated. Is that a superstar
Didn't get him
call?
much.
No.
Didn't get him much. Here's Steph Curry. The last 2 times down the floor, Doris, Golden State had Barnes and Thompson shoot. This time Curry gets it halfway down and out. Tell me you don't mind the heat check there.
No. I don't even think that was a heat check.
Anthony, way off. New York Knicks with just 4 3 balls tonight, 4 of 17 from downtown. Nice give and go. Harrison Barnes underneath. Denied by Chandler, out of bounds, but it'll stay Warriors basketball. Chandler, a big part. He's their anchor of their defense. Right?
Yeah, and think about this now. At some points tonight, if they had David Lee, David would be stepping to 15, 16 feet, right, and making jump shots and pulling Tyson Chandler away from the rim. Now he's just sitting in the paint, stationary. 20 rebounds for Tyson Chandler. It's the 4th time this year. His career high, 23. We've got a long way to go.
Curry to inbound with 8 on the shot clock for the Warriors. Gonna have to go quick.
I was trying to keep my tight.
6 on the shot clock. Little traffic jam, congestion. Thompson over to Barnes, and they won't get it off.
Good defense. Under the rest of the shot clock, you come with a couple of traps, force a couple of more seconds off the clock.
10th turnover of the night for Golden State. Felton off the screen. Blocked by Festus Ezeli. And a foul against the Knicks. Ray Felton. That's his second personal foul. Golden State, second night of a back-to-back. Playing without David Lee, their all-star, who averages 19 and 10. Following Steph Curry, the leader tonight. That time got ripped. Anthony on the break. And he's fouled by Ezeli. Nice little step-through move by Miller.
It's amazing how many guys have that now in their repertoire, right? You think Manu Ginobili, very hard to guard. You're crossing in front of the defender's body.
Absolutely not. No disrespect to the problem. The Rams erases the coach's play.
Be bold with vibrant, versatile colors. Posca, start your story.
Seen Harden do that, and Dwayne Wade with a good one as well. Melo at the line. Chance to catch his breath and put a few points on the board. Take a look at the national television big board Thursday on TNT, Philadelphia, Chicago, Minnesota at the Lakers, then Saturday on NBA TV, the Warriors in Philadelphia, Minnesota at Portland after that, then Sunday on ABC, Miami looking for their first win this year against the Knicks in New York, and then OKC at the Clippers. Hey, Philadelphia against Chicago Thursday on TNT. The 76ers falling fast, and Doug Collins with a very abrupt, a very terse, and a very heartfelt, guys, you got to give me more, Steve Jones.
Yeah.
What'd you make of that?
Well, he pours his heart and soul into coaching. I think it can really wear on him. I mean, it's just brutal how hard he takes it. I thought he made a great point. As a player, if you remember, the guy gave his heart and soul. He was never booed. And here's the thing, Mark. How frustrating. Nice follow by Ezeli. Listen. How frustrating. You make the move, you think you're going to play like Orlando played with Dwight. You're going to put Andrew Bynum, a highly skilled center, in the middle. You're going to surround him with shooters. The plan was great. Now what's going to happen? Now Bynum's going to audition for teams because he's going to come back before the end of the year.
Yep.
That's frustrating.
Chandler couldn't get the tap out in Golden State now, trying to run. They ran him off the three-point line, but Klay Thompson working on that drive game a little bit.
Just a beautiful adjustment. And again, listen, he's not been as dominant, but another guy who, to me, plays beyond his years. He just felt Tyson Chandler meeting him at the rim and went opposite.
And Kyrie Irving going to miss his second straight game. The Raptors will be happy about that. Last time they played, Irving beat them with a stare-down three at the buzzer. Stoudemire rejected, and that's going to be goaltending on Ezeli. But it was a tough first half for Amari Stoudemire. Had 3 personal fouls. Never really got into a rhythm.
So let's see, do they look to attack inside with him? They've got Ezeli checking him one-on-one.
New York with a decided height advantage. Jarrett Jack in the ball game running the point. See what Thompson does with this mismatch on Stoudemire. Settles for the long three. Ezeli kept it alive. Landry followed. And Melo comes up with it. Smith for three. And J.R. Smith has it working tonight, folks.
Sounded like Mike Woodson has been pleased with him. Not only his ability to score it, but his overall game.
15 points for J.R. Smith.
You know he can get it going.
Jarrett Jack on the drive. Made a little contact. Felton went to the court, and Jack cashed it.
Well, interesting now. The Knicks are big, right? You've got Tyson playing with Stat, and that means Carmelo Anthony chasing on the perimeter again as a defender.
Golden State going to try and make that work for them, you figure?
No question. They did in the first half.
That ball out of bounds, and it'll be Golden State basketball. Mark Jackson in his homecoming, native of Brooklyn, born in Brooklyn, played his collegiate basketball at St. John's, one of the all-time assist leaders there. He used to like taking the train to Madison Square Garden as a member of the New York Knicks as well. Jack working against Stoudemire. Crossed him up.
It's the most wonderful time.
With Verizon, trade in any phone, any condition. It's your last chance to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. And iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. All 3 on us. Only on Verizon.
And Smith with the rebound for New York. Felton wide open. And the 6th three-pointer of the night for New York.
I didn't love that last set. A lot of individual effort there out front by Jarrett Jack. And sometimes your shot selection, your offense does not help your defense. And that was the case for the Golden State Warriors.
Jack with a wide open three, knocks it down. Jarrett Jack has been Mr. Clutch for Golden State this year.
Curry, his 4th assist. And, as much as he scored it, what a decision maker he is.
Ball knocked out of bounds. Doris, this Golden State team, talk about decision making. Here it is.
Well, listen, you come over, you force the help, right? You're getting a middle drive. You're forcing that defender to come over. Jack stays spaced, creating opportunities for his teammates.
Prior to the All-Star break, Golden State was in the midst of a 6-game losing streak before finally snapping out of it. But during that 6-game losing streak, a couple of caveats. There was against a lot of winning teams, A, and B, Jarrett Jack missed 3 of those games. It just kind of underscores the importance of what he's meant to this team.
Listen, he's got to be in the conversation with Crawford for 6th Man of the Year.
Nice speed by Melo inside with Stoudemire.
Pretty pass.
Little evidence that those two can work well together.
Yes.
Landry with the show and go. Draws the contact and the foul on J.R. Smith. That's the second on Smith.
Be very interesting to see.
I'm about to make some food right quick, right?
This game stays nipping tough. One of Mike Woodson's complaints, Mark, has been that his team settles for jumpers in close games. So as we move to the 4th,
Played in front of his home fans in the postseason.
This holiday season, you have to shop Sephora at Kohl's for your gifting needs at any price point. These are the gifts that I plan on having on hand for any of my friends and family because they're perfect and they fit my budget. You'll earn Kohl's rewards and Beauty Insider points on beauty purchases. Shop Sephora at Kohl's and earn double the rewards.
Since game one when he injured that ankle, he's only got about 19 minutes on the floor in front of the home crowd here at Oracle, and he is back tonight after that historic performance 2 days ago, and we are ready to tip it off. Game 5, do or die for the Portland Trailblazers. And you know the Warriors would like to wrap this up right now.
Full
week off. The tip is controlled by Golden State, and away we go. Great scene here before the game with the MVP presentation. The commissioner, Adam Silver, is here.
We got beef.
And it's always curious as we get a foul quickly on a
Man was arguing earlier.
Start talking and Charles touched on it in our pregame show there, but I'm always curious how a team responds and how a specific player responds, an MVP responds after all of that attention for the success that he had throughout the season. And we were here for Curry's MVP presentation last year as well.
Well, I think for him is he wants to come back and get into a rhythm quickly. But the great thing for Stephen Curry, he has unbelievable teammates that can make plays. This is a team where you have a lot of guys, sometimes 5 guys, that can handle the basketball, post-up pass. So a little bit of pressure off of him. He wants to see that first shot go through.
Draymond Green opens up the scoring here tonight. You saw those great numbers by Green. He had 7 blocks in Game 4. That is a career high for Green, playoff or regular season. Green now with 15 blocks in the series, and he almost got Aminu, but Aminu scores it. And the first points of the game for the Blazers comes from a guy who has been a great hit in this postseason, Farouk Aminu.
I mean, he's found his offense and his confidence, and you can see him right through Draymond Green on the block on that play.
Klay Thompson turns the corner and hits it. His first shot goes through.
Let me see. Love the fans to look and get a chance to watch the way these guys shoot. But watch the way their teammates screen for them to get them open.
Thompson coming off a 23-point game. 17 of those came after the halftime break. As Aminu will step into a mid-range. Not there. Plumlee fires it off of Bogut, and that'll stay in the possession of the Blazers. Good play by Mason Plumlee.
Did a nice job on the offensive glass in Game 4.
Not talking about Mitch either.
Let me see.